sapiens! Today I'll be explaining the elements of blood. Blood is essential to our survival, except if you're a sponge, that is. Blood is also comprised of four main things, which is red blood cells, obviously, and then white blood cells, still kind of obvious, and then plasma, and finally platelets. These four things make up blood in its entirety. Let's talk about the plasma first. Plasma serves as a liquid transporter and also a solvent for the blood. Let's imagine the platelets, white blood cells, and red blood cells as salt. And then you're trying to pump them upstream, which the pump is the heart. You're trying to pump them, but it doesn't work because it's just salt. The plasma acts as the water which dissolves the salt, allowing it to flow through the circulatory system. The plasma is further divided into water, salts, of course, and then proteins and enzymes and etc. And that's plasma. So let's move on to the red blood cells. The red blood cells are extremely important because it has blood in the name. No, just kidding. It's important because it's the main thing that transports oxygen. Inside of this strangely shaped red blood cell is a protein called hemoglobin. This hemoglobin can bond with four molecules of oxygen and allowing it to be transported throughout the body. This hemoglobin also is able to transport CO2. And now, let's move on to the defenses of the blood, which is, of course, the white blood cells. There are multiple different types of white blood cells. There are white blood cells that make antibodies, there are white blood cells that eat things, there are white blood cells that utterly destroy things. But the ones we are looking at are called macrophages. These cells will be able to consume any pathogens that go in the blood. Hopefully, any pathogens that go in the blood. Ideally, any pathogens that go in the blood. This cell also is able to alert other immune cells, such as the T cells and other cells like that, to go into defense mode. And last but not least, we have the platelets. These serve as your dam and builders. These are actually old red blood cells that have aged but are still useful. This mass right here is called a scab. It forms after you get yourself cut. So, let's say you get yourself cut. Oh no! Blood starts to leak out of the wound. And to prevent any pathogens from going inside of that wound and overloading the immune system, the platelets will gather at the edge of the wound and then slowly close in, causing the gap to be filled. And this scab, make sure you don't peel it. This scab will fall off on its own after the skin underneath has healed. And so, in summary, these are the elements of blood. First of all, we have the plasma. The plasma serves as a solvent and chemical transporter for the blood. This is made up of salts, waters, amino acids, and then enzymes, and etc. And then move on to the red blood cells. This strangely shaped cell contains hemoglobin inside, which is a protein that is able to transport 4 molecules of oxygen all throughout the body. It can also transport carbon dioxide. And then here we have the white blood cells. These cells serve as our defense mechanism because they can eat any pathogens, ideally eat any pathogens. And then finally, last but not least, the platelets. These serve as our dam builders, our fixers, our engineers. This will heal up and form a scab, which is a temporary barrier over any wound that might concern the immune system.